Alright, welcome back to Jacob's Backyard Builds. We are in the garage today working on the 2000 c3500hd dump truck, doing brakes. I've already done the front, I've replaced all the lines, got everything working. Drove the truck into town to take the cores back for the front calipers, and this one blew out. And the original problem was this line blew out. So I replaced all the lines, and then the bleeder broke off the front caliper, had to replace both of those. I did rotors recently, but I realized there are no good videos online of how to do the brakes on these trucks, and a lot of them do not have all the parts on them still. So when I took these apart, this here is the tab that slips in here underneath the caliper to hold it in place, and it's got a bolt that goes right here to hold this in place. None of them on this truck had this little tension spring in there. So this is supposed to be on top of this right there, and then you slip that in between the caliper and the bracket here. Now I got anti-seize all over my hands. I'm gonna be the Tin Man today. So pull that bolt out. Pull that, slide that out of there. You're going to pull the caliper off after you compress it. And then there's this pad sits on the caliper like so. And the inside pad sits in here on the bracket. So yeah, that inside seal there blew out. So that is how you take them off. And I'll get these calipers changed out, which is just take this line off, put the new caliper on there, make sure you change out your crush washers. The new caliper comes with crush washers and a new banjo bolt. So I'm going to get that done, and then I'll show you how to put it all back together. Alright, so before I put these pads back in here, so I got the caliper changed. One thing that was not on this truck as well, and there's, again, no good videos on how to do any of this on this truck. This is the back brake pad. It's going to go back here. Same pads on the front, same calipers. Front and rear brakes are the same other than the rotors on this truck, because the front has 5 lug, the back has 10. So this inside pad on the bottom side of these 2 ears on it comes with this clip in the hardware. Make sure you clip it on there like that. The small side on the inside of it, because you don't want this outer edge, the big side over here rubbing once the pad gets worn down. So that goes in there. That keeps your pad from moving up and down. You'll hear it chatter. I've always wondered what that chatter was in this truck. It's because these clips are missing. Alright, I'm going to see if I can get my phone set up somewhere where I can record this, or at least try to show you here. This is a pain to do, or can be. So, bottom of the caliper here. You take this, you got to pick this caliper up and slide this in there. You got to find the sweet spot because it's got a small little slot in the bottom that it's going to sit on. So find that sweet spot. It should slide in there. Shouldn't have to beat on it or do anything crazy with it. I've already gone through and cleaned all this up earlier today. Got all the rust off these slides, put anti-seize on them. So make sure you do all that because these will seize on you if you don't. It's very dry, especially if you live somewhere where there's salt. We don't use this truck in the winter, but everything gets rusty eventually. It is 23 years old now, so yeah, that's how you do that. I don't really have a way to set it up at all in here, not with my phone so you guys can see it, so I'll just try to explain it the best I can as I go. Alright, so I got it started. So to get it started, lift the caliper up. Kind of angle this downward. You can get the tip up into it and just push. This one's a little tight, but I can push it in, as you see there. Or maybe it's just there. That's why. It's because I was pushing the caliper with me. So see, just pushed it in. What I did there, I didn't beat on that. I just tapped there, loosened the caliper up. It was just binding up the way I was pushing on it. So now that lines up perfectly. take your new bolt. It comes with your hardware, or with your caliper. I bought hardware and it didn't come with the bolt and didn't come with the back clip for that pad either. Only came with this piece and that spring piece. So that's how you put it back together. Super easy, super simple, but it can be a pain in the ass if everything's rusted up and nasty, or if you're missing parts like we were. So this is the way it goes. Secure bolt, this little slide clip, the spring tensioner on the top, and then that little spring piece that goes on the bottom of that pad on the back. And that's how you do it. Now I gotta hook this line back up. I'll get these bled out, which I'll show you guys how I do it with my vacuum blader. And then this truck should be ready to go and I can use it for work tomorrow. Alright, we're gonna bleed these brakes. This is my vacuum bleeder. This is the Holt Industries. So this is a vacuum bleeder, or it's got another piece that you can hook up to it somewhere on here. I don't know how. I just got this the other day, and I don't really plan to use the other piece, because you can suck fluid from your caliper, or you can put the hose into your brake reservoir and push the fluid down to it. But I prefer to suck them out. I think it works just fine, and it's easier for me. So we're going to pop this little cover off, set that up there on the leaf spring. So I open up my valve and start sucking before I open the bleeder valve, because I want to shock the system and get it to pull quick. Now we're open, pulling, starting to get some fluid through it already. Slow the airflow down. And what we're looking for is for that fluid level to come up without any bubbles coming through it. You can see the bubbles there. So it's going to keep bubbling, and that fluid will sink back down. But then once all the air is out of it, that fluid will just start to rise and not have any more bubbles in it. So super easy. Don't need a second person. I can do this by myself with no help. And that was $100. Best $100 I've spent in a while.